It is 6 a.m. We are getting on an airplane to go to the middle of nowhere, Ohio, to go hang with our friend Josh. We land in Cleveland, grab our bags, and start the 2-hour drive to Malvern, Ohio, population 1,100 in the middle of Amish country.
So Josh Dahlheimer has been a chapter leader for a handful of years now and doing a great job. When I first met Josh, he ended up coming to the WakeWell conference, just this dude from the middle of nowhere, Ohio, that no one had ever heard about, but he got connected with WakeWell and decided to come to the conference, not knowing anybody. And so he shows up and, man, he was so excited about wakeboarding and about Jesus. And it was just like from day one, I pegged Josh as this guy who, like, man, he has got so much excitement, but is he gonna be able to like harness that and create a chapter and reach people and use all that excitement to have something that grows and becomes something really, really awesome.
My name's Josh Dahlheimer. I live at Lake Mohawk, Ohio, and I am a WakeWell chapter leader. Lake Mohawk, it's located in Carroll County, Ohio. If you look up on the website, it'll tell you it is Ohio's best kept secret. As for the wake scene, there are definitely some rippers here, but a lot of it is very family oriented. But I would say 25% are probably wake boats. Lots of jet skis, lots of pontoons, and then there's like some core fishing that happens too. I've never fished here. No, I have, like twice. So I grew up skateboarding, and that was my passion all throughout like middle school, high school, and then into college. And then when I met my wife, when we first started dating, she actually introduced me to wakeboarding. So mid to late 20s is really when I started to like fall in love with it. So I learned at 21, and then I was like, all right, I need to get Wakeboard Mag, because I grew up with Thrasher Mag coming and Trans World Skateboard Mag coming in, and I'm like, oh wait, like there is a whole culture of wakeboarding out there, and they have a mag. And just not growing up with it, didn't know about it. And so once I started getting Wakeboard Mag, I'm like seeing it, I'm like, okay, this is really cool. Everyone wants to belong. And so throughout my entire life, you just want to belong with a group. And so then whenever I discovered wakeboarding, you're like, all right, how do I belong to this group? Wakeboard. And then get involved and meet people and start talking about wakeboarding. And then, if you can share that together, that's, what builds that whole entire culture. I grew up going to church as a like really young child. So I was familiar, I got saved. It was something that I lived my life that way. The same thing, growing up in high school and everything else. And so I used to like bounce around youth groups and everything. So that part of it was already embedded in me. When I got into wakeboarding and dove into the social media, Instagram world, I saw all of these things and it was like, WakeWell. Love God, love others, love wake. I'm like, okay, this is really cool. And that connected me to Mark Hager. And then he said, hey, we have a National Wake conference every year in the spring. And he said, well, why don't you come down? At first I went down there like nervous. I'm like, they're gonna see my ability and think, dude, you're not one of us. Because that's what I experienced in skateboarding. If you weren't jumping down a stair set, like you're not a skateboarder, and that was such a hard culture to get into in that market. And wakeboarding, I'm sure that it has its pockets, but at least with WakeWell, no, because like there's a bigger foundation built on God, built on a relationship with Jesus and wakeboarding, that it was like you were instantly accepted. And so I came back and I formed a group of, I think it was 5 people And I said, like, this is our group, and we're going to like make this work, and then we're going to reach out. Anybody that I saw that was wakeboarding, I would just like either try and pull up to them, like eventually, or like I'd see them, find out where they live, you know, because you'd recognize the boat. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to try and figure out how do I connect with this person. And so then we started building the community. Everyone else wanted the same thing I did. They just wanted a group, a community to get together, and they needed someone to organize it. And so by doing WakeWell, I was the one that organized it. And then everyone's like, yeah, I want to be a part of this. I want to be part of a community. You know, some guys would show up just to hear the message. They didn't want to ride. And that's when I knew like we really had kind of the flip of we're no longer just building a wake culture, but we're actually being impactful in people's lives, that they care enough to show up even if they're not going to ride. And that's when I knew I had something like really special, and we saw a lot of growth. The riding is what brings people in, right? You know, people want to wakeboard, but like WakeWell's it's not about wakeboarding. It is truly about the community and sharing the gospel of Jesus and how much he loves every single person and wants to have that relationship. Yes, I have a relationship with Jesus, but I'm not trained to give a message, but I can read through the gospel and I can share it, and I can share what Jesus has changed in my life to be impactful. So you don't have to be a minister. I'm not the best wakeboarder at MOHAWK by any means. So you don't have to be the best where people are only going to respect you or listen to you because you're the best. Like, to be honest, being an encourager is way greater than that. Ultimately, everybody just wants to belong. And so whenever you start something that now people are getting together, they just wanted to be invited to it. Maybe they didn't want to start it, and then they see it and they're like, oh, yeah, maybe I could even do this, because it doesn't take a lot. It's just making sure that you show up and making sure that you're loving on people and sharing that Jesus loves them. And that's the simple part. And the rest, like, I mean, not to be cliche, but like God takes care of the rest. You just have to be the vessel and say, all right, I'm gonna do this.
As we packed up our stuff and drove back to the airport, we couldn't help but feel thankful for the time we got to spend with Josh and the opportunity to experience this awesome community that he's built here at Lake Mohawk.
Yeah, so last night we went to the Lake Mohawk WakeWell chapter, and it was awesome. They had a great turnout. They had like 14, 15 people out on the boat, all ages, all different backgrounds, but everyone was super excited about wakeboarding or wake surfing. Like, everyone got out there and rode. And then Josh gave a great message, and you know, it's just encouraging to see what has happened here in Lake Mohawk, despite, you know, not being the most popular wakeboard spot. Like, Josh has created this incredible community there, and the people show up for it. It's just awesome.